Yo, we gotta talk about gender identity, okay? Because apparently that's a hot topic right now, and obviously we see across a few states, the banning of certain things and certain curriculum. So I thought that I'd share with you a few things about gender identity when it comes to psychology. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Smith. I have a doctorate in clinical psychology, and I'm also a licensed social worker. I specifically work with children and families, but right now I'm specializing in early intervention, which works with ages 0 to 6. I also study gun violence that affects Black women, as well as I study institutional racism that causes racial trauma. But today, I want to talk about some theories when it comes to gender identity. Now, I know that a lot of y'all, or at least I've seen a lot of people say, what's all this new stuff and this new generation with identity? First of all, let me tell you, identity is something that has been talked about well before the 1960s, just so y'all know. Also, there has been several theories basically about gender identity. The first one is your boy, Freud. If you don't know who Sigmund Freud is, clearly you need to Google. But he had the prediction that people's identity, or at least children's gender identity, was developed through their same-sex parent. So that is what he thought. That's the consensus of that. Then you had Kohlberg, who thought that gender identity, was established between three phases: identity, stability, and consistency. Identity means that basically around ages 2 or 3, a child basically says, okay, I identify as a boy or I identify as a girl. Through stability, they believe like, okay, as we grow up, a boy becomes a man, a girl becomes a woman. And through consistency, they realize that gender doesn't change over any situation. They just realize that gender stays consistent throughout any different situations they're exposed to. And then you have social learning theory, which talks about how gender identity is developed through differential reinforcement and the observations that they learn. What that means is that you reinforce your child's identity by giving them, like a boy, you give them trucks or cars. And for girls, you give them dolls. So that means you're just reinforcing their identity. Then you have Bem's theory, which talks about gender identity be established through masculinity and femininity. So basically, if dad goes to work, a boy child is basically conceptualizing that that's what it means to be a man. The man goes to work. And for a girl, if the woman stays home and nurtures, that means that she conceptualized femininity as staying at home, being a nurturer. And last but not least, you have the multidimensional model that was developed in 2001. I say all that to say nobody is influencing your child's gender but you as the parent.